The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Namaskar, this is Dada Ranjitananda. Today we are going to continue our Ashtanga Yoga course. It is the class number 14. As I mentioned previously, yoga is practical. So this Ashtanga Yoga is something we need to do. I said 99.9% is practice, 0.1% is theory. The most important thing is that you practice. Today, I will move ahead to another limb or another part of this system. And I want to assume that you are practicing. And what am I assuming that you are practicing? Number one is the first thought. The first thought of your day is a special one. It's a very important thought because it sets the trend for the whole day. Keep a positive thought. Keep a spiritual thought. If you can start with the mantra, that is very helpful. That is the first point. I call it the first thought of the day. This practice takes only a few minutes. The difficulty of this practice is that sometimes we forget. It doesn't matter if we forget sometimes, but we can set some reminders. Keep something nearby, some reminders, something you write, that immediately upon waking up, it reminds you to encourage or to bring to your mind a good thought, positive thought, a spiritual thought, a thought of somebody spiritual. There are different ways, but the underlying factor is that it should be a thought that will make our whole day special. Then I will assume that you are also doing the first movement, is the Utkshepa mudra, that mudra that we talked about, that you flex your legs and arms, hold the legs in the near the body, then extend it, flex again, extend it, kind of rapidly, 3, 4, 5 times. That gets your body kind of going. Then you sit down, drink the water in a special way that stimulates the whole digestive system. Then stand up, walk around, uncover the navel area so that you get some fresh air touching that controlling point of the heat in the body. That's the first movement. This one, I will leave it at your discretion because some people may have physical limitations or other limitations, so you may do it, may not do it. It is just the idea that we get our mind moving, thinking, but at the same time, let's get the body moving. Then I'm also assuming that you are doing meditation daily. You may be using your own technique of meditation. The technique I gave is with the mantra Baba Nam Kevalam. And you are thinking that everything is that feeling, that very deep feeling that you are surrounded by love. You are connected to infinite love. You're connected to the limitless. If you have a personal technique, you can do that one. Then also you are practicing asanas twice a day or at least once a day. Minimum the 3 basic asanas. That should do it for now. As you practice, you get the feeling for it. Your body also starts changing, and you may want to experiment with other asanas. And even in the future, get your own personal set of asanas that you can do according to your needs at that moment. I will also assume that you are practicing those 5 techniques or points of yama and the other 5 of niyama. Only this is already a lot. But if you follow the course step by step and you added these practices slowly to your daily routine, you might already be kind of comfortable with it. Keep practicing. It's an investment of time, maybe mental energy, but the results or what you get back is much more. That much for the practice that we have covered in the course until now. You may watch again the movies, the recordings of the various practices, the different ones that we did. So the more you repeat it in your mind, the more it gets in and it gets to become a habit. If it becomes a habit, if it becomes natural, part of you, your own nature, you see that life changes. Life changes sometimes not because things change around us, but because things change within us. That's it for the review. We covered 3 limbs so far. Today I will get started on the number 4. The number 4 is called in Sanskrit pranayama. Yama means control. Prana means the vital energy, the flow of vital energy. It is related to breathing, related to the air we breathe, how it gets absorbed in the body, and how it flows. It's related to proper breathing. It's related to breath control. Let's touch a little bit about proper breathing. Breathing has a few parts. One is you breathe in. The other is there is usually a pause after you finish breathing in. Then there is breathing out. And another pause after you finish breathing out. And then you breathe in again. It's a cycle. We need to breathe in well. We need also to breathe out well. Many of the breathing problems are related to not breathing out completely and also not breathing in completely. If you don't breathe in and out completely, what happens? The air doesn't, the air goes in, so we get the oxygen, we transform it. Now it's time to send the air out so that new air can come in. So if you don't send all the air out, that used up oxygen that became now carbon dioxide is still inside. Not enough new air can come in. Then again, you don't breathe out. In that way, you will feel that you are not getting enough oxygen. And it is just because you are not breathing out fully. The most basic practice here will be to do a deep breathing. You can do it every day. Best if you are in a place with clean air. That will be like the first kind of technique or the first practice. Breathe in fully. Breathe in fully through the nose. So fill up your lungs. Remember, many people have a tendency to breathe only with the upper part. So like you breathe in, breathe out, but we need to engage one muscle that is kind of in the middle of the abdomen. It's called the diaphragm. If we want to fill up the lungs, this muscle has to go down, creating space for the air to come into the lungs. And it creates like a suction. So air goes in. Diaphragm goes down. If it goes down, it means that the abdomen or the stomach part comes out. In that way, you are creating space for your lungs to get filled up with air. You did that. Now it is time to empty. When you empty, the diaphragm goes up. Going up, it's pressing the lungs, like pressing, air is going out. In the yoga exercises that you have learned, the 3 basic asanas, what were we doing? We breathe in when we are going backwards, so that is giving space for the air to fill up the lungs. Then when we go forward, we are pressing the lungs. That gives pressure for the air to leave the body, to go out from the lungs. So those exercises help a lot. And you can pay special attention to breathing when you are doing those exercises, that you really breathe out completely when you are going down, and you breathe in completely when you are going up. In this exercise now, you are not doing that movement, you are stationary, let's say, and you are just using that muscle, the diaphragm, to send the air out and to help to bring the air in. In that way, you practice getting some control over your breathing system. Just by doing it consciously, it will be helpful. Normally, we are breathing automatically. We don't give much attention to it. But now we are going to start practicing pranayama. We will start giving attention to our breathing process. First part get conscious of what you are doing, how you are breathing. Are you breathing fully? Not. Is your respiration very shallow? Just a little bit air in, a little bit air out, a little bit air in, a little bit air out. Is it giving you enough oxygen so that your body is working well? That will be the first scope or the first part of our pranayama training, let's say. Take time every day, if possible twice, to breathe in and out completely, to get conscious of your breathing. Don't need so much time, even a few moments, a few minutes. It will help to understand how your body is working. Okay, we'll move ahead here. So that was number one. You already have one exercise now for breathing. Simple, doesn't take much time, but if you do every day, it will make a big difference. Here is a definition of pranayama. The process by which the pranas in the body are controlled is called pranayama. One thing is pranas. What are the pranas? Prana is related to vital energy. And this vital energy is a flow. It is air, related to air. That's why it's related to breathing. And we even call it the airs in the body. Pranayama is a process to control them, to control the airs in the body. Why to control it? And what is to be controlled? We want to control the pranas, also called vayus. Let's say a simple translation could be the airs, like the air in plural, airs. There are 10 kinds, or let's say 10 ways that this vital energy flows in the body. It flows internally and externally in our body. These vital energy flows are the pranas or the vayus. In the course, we are going to look at these 10 gradually. Which are those and what function they have in our body. Let's understand a little bit about the body and why we want to do this pranayama, why we need to control this flow. Human structure, I like to say it is, let's say, bio, psycho, spiritual. The bio is the body, the biological part is the body. The body, okay, we have flesh, muscles, bones, have a structure, and we have various systems, a circulatory system, the respiratory system, digestive system, so many systems in the body. It's a very developed machine. And this machine, it functions and it has a mind. The mind controls the body. The body is supposed to do what the mind is telling the body to do. This connection between mind and body, there are some components. One component are, or one of the components are the nerve fibers. Another component are the nerve cells. The cells control the fibers. The fibers give the stimulus to the body, muscles. But the mind is what is giving the stimulus to the cells. So let's say the mind in general controls the body and utilizes the nerves, nerve fibers, nerve cells. If there is a defect in the nerve fibers, the mind will not be able to control properly the body. If there is a defect in the nerve cells, the mind will not be capable of controlling well the body. We need healthy nerves, healthy nerve cells, healthy nerve fibers. That's one point. There are some functions of the body that do not need the mind. The mind doesn't have to be thinking about it, doesn't have to be concentrating on it. They go on, kind of automatic. These functions are controlled by instincts. The instincts, they are inborn. We are born with those instincts. From the moment we are born, they start making the body function or making various functions of the body work. When the baby is born, things are functioning. The baby's mind is not needed to make it function. And you will notice that that baby's mind will slowly learn to control that body, to control that structure. In the beginning, the mind is there, but it's not so proficient in controlling that structure. But the structure is working. It will maintain its existence, its basic function. That is done by instincts which are inborn, means one is born with it. Most of these functions that don't require the mind, they are physical or related to the mundane world. There are some functions, though, that are physical, but they are related to the mind, like hunger. It's something physical, but it's also related to the mind because it kind of pushes the mind to look for food. There is also thirst, sleep, drowsiness. These are physical things, but they are related to the mind. These functions, which are related to the mind, at the same time they are physical, they are regulated by the virus, by the airs. So the airs in the body regulate these functions like hunger, thirst, sleep, drowsiness, because they are physical functions, at the same time they are affecting the mind. Here we can see that there is a relationship of the mind with the virus. It means that the virus can affect the mind. According to how it flows, it affects the mind. According to how the mind flows, it affects the virus. For example, maybe I'm hungry, I haven't eaten for a long time. But at that moment, my mind is disturbed with some thought, something happened, some very bad news or something like that. I should be feeling hunger because I haven't eaten for a long time, but at the same time, because my mind is in that disturbed state, I don't want to eat. Then you see this relationship. Let's go deeper in this relationship. Here, the relationship between mind and virus, or the flow of the virus, the energy flow, the vital energy flow. The virus or the airs in the body is related to respiration, breathing. You're breathing in, you're breathing out. If this respiration is accelerated, let's say that you run, you're running, you are running very much, you become very tired, and also the respiration is very accelerated. You are breathing in and out very quickly. At that moment, it is very difficult to concentrate on something. Suppose a friend of yours will ask you a question. You say, "Oh, just wait, let me catch my breath." Wait. Because that moment you cannot think properly because you are breathing very fast. When you are breathing fast, the values are moving fast. The vital energy is flowing in a fast way. If respiration is slow, you can concentrate. If it's fast, not. That's a important relationship. If you're breathing very fast, if the flow of the virus is very quick, your capacity to think, to stop, think, assimilate an idea, that capacity is diminished. You can't do it. You will want to wait a little bit, let your respiration calm down, and then you can think clearly, you can answer questions. In the same way, if you are doing a test and very concentrated, you will notice that your respiration, the rhythm of your respiration will also be slow. You will be breathing very slowly when you are very concentrated. If you are breathing very quickly, you will have difficult to concentrate. There is a very close relationship between the mind and the virus. Mind agitated, virus agitated. Calm the virus, calm the mind. What is the pranayama? The pranayama is that knowing this fact, you will make an effort to control the virus. As you control the virus, it will reflect on the mind. You will be able to control the mind better. You will be able to concentrate better. If you can concentrate better, you can assimilate ideas better. Stimulus will come through the organs, sensory organs. Stimulus is coming through the organs. Your mind is calm. the values are calm, you can understand what's happening. You can get the idea. The opposite, very agitated values, the mind can't perceive properly. Mind also agitated, you can't understand properly. That's one reason, okay, that's one reason why when you want to meditate deeply, you will be in silence and motionless. Many people talk, oh, we can do meditation walking, we can do meditation doing other things. Yes, you can, but it's not as deep. The deepest meditation is if you can keep the body motionless. The values are not activated. The body is not moving. You are in silence, so you are not also activating the vocal cord. That's the best, deepest meditation. Back here, the main point in this first class on pranayama is to understand the importance of doing it. And what really is pranayama? It really is to control the flow of the airs. That is the pranayama. You want to control that flow. It means you don't want to that it becomes too accelerated. You want to make it as paused as possible. There are practices that help it, practices that will give you that capacity. You will be practicing it, and then you will see that you are getting that capacity to keep these values under control. If you can do that, you can think clearly in any situation. Maybe it will take time, it will take practice. It doesn't happen like that. You don't become immediately perfect on anything. It's always practice. The first practice we talk today is to become more conscious of how you are breathing today and practice this full breathing. Full means breathe in full, breathe out full. Many times we will tell somebody, breathe full breathing, or breathe, do a complete breath, no, or breathe fully, and they will just fill up as if that is the breathe fully, but that's only part of it. Means you are just in, and then there is a pause, and then out, and then another pause, and then in again. That's a whole cycle. Practice this cycle so that you do it consciously a few times a day. That will be our first exercise. For today, that was my main point. I wanted to establish the idea that it is important to do the pranayama, and the result is that the mind gets more controlled. If the mind is more controlled, it can think clearly. If it can think clearly, you can take better decisions. You can do things in a better way. You can behave better with other people. Everything changes. questions. The first question is if we are going to go more into practice of pranayama. Yes, today is just the introduction. We are going to go more into the practice, but I want just to say that some of the pranayama practices are kind of more advanced practices. We, in our system, we want people to be very much established on the first three limbs before going into the pranayama. What happens with the pranayama is like this, that pranayama will reinforce the mind, kind of increase the capacity of the mind to concentrate. If that happens, it means the mind will flow in the direction that you put it in a more concentrated way. In the first two limbs, the first two parts of Astaunga Yoga, the yama and niyama, they work very much on the way we think. Like in the yama, we are thinking not to harm anybody. Then we are thinking that every word that we use is for the welfare. Two of the points of yama. We are making our mental flow in a certain direction. When we will practice pranayama, it will kind of make it stronger. Therefore, the preparation is very important, because if I haven't established myself, or at least if I haven't created a flow in my mind that I shouldn't harm people, the moment I'm starting doing pranayama, making my mind stronger, and I'm not really established in that direction, instead of helping, it might make it a little bit more difficult, because if my mind is flowing another way and I've been trying to bring it in a different way, and then I start doing pranayama, it increases the force, the momentum that my mind goes in that other way. The pranayama may not be the best. That's why I'm going to be introducing pranayama slowly and simple pranayamas for a more in-depth pranayama. It is I only teach in a personal interview. We'll have a personal interview, and then you can get a technique of pranayama to practice. But don't worry about it now. Let's move gradually here. You got one exercise, do that exercise. Are you already a practitioner of pranayama? If you are, it's going okay, you can continue. I just wanted to say that pranayama is quite a strong practice, and in our system, which is a very gradual system, we keep it a little bit later. We put another practice even first to prepare for the pranayama. And that practice, it will come, is one of the limbs that we are going to work on, which is concentration. So we put concentration even before pranayama, even though in the Astaunga Yoga system, pranayama comes as number 4, and concentration will come as number 6. That's in the theory, but in the practice, we put the concentration before. Okay. Closing quote. There is a unique causal relationship between the functioning of the virus and the functioning of the mind. The way one is functioning causes the way the other one functions. That is the causal relationship. This is by Sri Anandamurti. Well, we have come to the end of today's presentation. Let's close with a reminder that practice, practice, practice. Thank you. Namaskar. Have a good week.